Alright, welcome back to Sunnyside Speed Shop, and today on the El Camino we are going to install the transmission cross member, measure for my drive shaft, and then button up some of this wiring under the hood. Check it out. So I went ahead and threw that wiring harness inside the fender. And this is where I'm going to mount my computer. It's not mounted yet, it's just sitting there. Now I got to find a place to mount this fuse block. Don't know where I want to put that just yet, but before I do any of that, I'm going to take care of this transmission cross member. Alright, so I got the motor and trans in this thing, and I got this factory original cross member here, and the bolt holes are nowhere near lining up. But it looks like if I just hog out these two holes and elongate them, I'll be able to get a couple bolts in there, and then I'll just have to re-drill where it bolts in over here. So I think first I'm gonna have to mark and pull this cross member out so I can drill these holes. So let's get going on that. It's a little snug. Oh man, there I go, scratching my fresh powder coat. All right, it's out. All right, let's just go back as far as I can. All right. How's it look? Not bad. Not great, not bad. Oh, fuck. It's tight. Hammer it over with the rubber mallet so I don't scratch up my powder coat anymore. Alright, cool. On the outside here where it bolts up, the hole almost lines up, and then I'll have to drill a second hole here. The original hole would have been about here, but these two close together will be fine. Better than spending 220 bucks on a new cross member. So let me drill these out and get some bolts in this thing, and this transmission's bolted in. one bolt in so it doesn't move around. Ooh, the bolt is barely long enough to reach the nylock threads. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so now it won't move around and I can drill the next one. Awesome. I was concerned about the length of the bolts, and look at that. Perfect amount of stick out. Sorry if it's not focused. Look at that. Perfect. Awesome. Get this other side done, and we're in business. All right, let's measure for the drive shaft. This is the original TH350 drive shaft. The splines on the TH250 and 4L60 are the same. These are considerably shorter than the 4L60 drive shaft, so if you're going to reuse this, make sure your measurements are dead on. You don't want too much stick out. So first, slam that in. Here's my tape measure. All right, typically you want 5/8 of an inch to 1 inch of stick out, and this seal here, you can see that compressing. That seal is already 7/8 of an inch. 7/8. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just put it level with the seal. And then what you wanna do is measure from the center of this cap on the slip yoke to the center of where it would bolt in the back. So luckily it has this clip on here. I can just hook the tape measure on that. See if this is going to work. All right, now I got a better measurement. It's actually 57.5. All right, 57.5. Glad I double checked it. I got my computer mounting bracket here. Got my computer. Go ahead and snap it in. And this is where I plan on mounting my computer. Those two plugs right there, mounted right there. Kind of out of the way. Don't really notice it that much. I could paint the computer black when I'm all done so it blends in. So let me go ahead and throw a couple of screws in here. Let me get a piece of tape so I can mark it. All right, only tape I can find is this crappy white duct tape. So, kind of want it up high like that so I and I'll just throw a self-tapper through it into the inner fender well, and then I can go back later and put a real bolt in it. Boom. All right. I don't want to clip that in just yet because it's going to be a nightmare to get back off. All right, another thing I need to figure out is where to mount this BP Automotive fuse block. That's where the horn relay goes, and I'm going to be picking up positive power for this from the horn relay because the horn relay has constant hot power straight from the battery. Mount it here. I'm going to check fuses like that. This would be better. You can make an L bracket to mount that though. I want to mount it down here, inside the fender. So that'll be hidden-ish. Easy to get to my fuses. Might end up doing that because when you're looking in the engine compartment, you won't really see it. I think I might do that. Yeah, because I can get my positive power right to here. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Because when you're staring in the engine compartment from the front, you won't even see this over here. So cool, let me throw a couple self-tappers in that. We're going to say there's good. How about that? Well, let's see. Well, it works. All right, next step is going to be to figure out where the hell all of these go. So, I'll show you how I do that. All right, where's my multimeter? All right, if you want to check to see what wire goes where on a harness or anywhere when you're doing wiring, you can set your multimeter to an audible ring. It looks like a little Wi-Fi symbol on there. And you touch the two wires, put this close to my microphone, it beeps. So, and here, this is my coil pack wire for bank 1. I'll just pick up my pink wire here. So I'll hold that there, and then I'll just go to these one at a time until I hear a beep. There it is. This wire right here. You hear that beeping? So this is power from my bank 1 coil pack. So let me take some tape. Boom. That is bank 1 coil pack. Now I can move on to the injectors. We got injector number 1. Same thing. I'll Plug in one side to the positive on the injector, one at a time. There it is, injector 1. Sometimes I get a little nervous because I'm like, oh my god, I've checked almost all of them and it hasn't beeped yet, but it's there. Alright. And we just keep going. Injector 3. And I don't have to label these 1 through 8. I just need to separate bank 1 from bank 2 to be able to fuse them. So that's why I'm just putting white tape on it. Alright, got everything connected to the harness now, to the fuse block. Now it's time to pull all this back out of the car so I can tape this up and add my wires for check engine light, tax signal, OBD2 port, TCC brake switch. That's all these wires here. I got to extend those so they can reach inside the car. So let's pull this harness back up. Alright, this is where I'm going to leave it today. I got the transmission crossmember bolted in, got the drive shaft measured so I can have that shortened. I got the wiring almost done. Check it out. Alright, computers mounted inside the inner fender well, kind of hidden. Fuse block down here, mounted as well, kind of hidden. When I say kind of hidden, I mean you pop the hood, you can't really see it. You got to really look for it. So And I'll paint this black too, so it'll blend. Got the wires all wrapped up. This bundle here is going to go inside the car, so next time I'm here, I'll get that inside the car. I'll extend my alternator wiring, and I'll wrap the rest of this harness so it's done. And then we'll start breaking down this original harness for the headlights and horn relay and everything else. Put a battery in this thing and start testing for power on the inside of the car. We're getting pretty close to being able to crank this thing up. Well, cool. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Sorry, it's been kind of boring with the wiring stuff, but it's necessary with with these LS swaps. A lot of wiring. That's why a lot of people are scared of these things. But it's really not that bad once you jump in and do it. Especially if you buy a harness pre-made, it's just plug and play. It's easy, super easy. If you can hook up 4 wires, you can do an LS swap. So check me out on the next one when we finish this wiring, and maybe see if we can turn the key and crank it. It won't start yet because I need a fuel system and everything else, but at least get power to the ignition and get it cranking up. So see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.